So today we're going to give the Zoe a bit of a test. I've been so impressed with this car. We're actually going to do something that we really didn't buy this car for. So we thought we'd take ourselves on a road trip to really see what the range of this car was going to be like. Obviously this car was built to have like a 250 mile range via the NEDC, blah 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 blah, but yeah, no, just no, it does not have that anywhere near that kind of range. 200 be nice, and it's winter right now, so we're in the cold weather, so maybe in summer it might be somewhere up there. Plus we've been doing a little bit of driving on the faster roads, and I think that the range guessometer does take that into account. So when we set off today, we had about 126 ish miles in the tank, which actually isn't enough to do the drive that we're going to do. We are going to need
154.
Yeah, about 100 well, it's about 160 miles. So we are going to need to charge, and actually that's one of the things I don't think that the UK has got right. I mean, there's charge points, and if you download the Polar app or something like that, you download that and you think, wow, there's a lot of charge points out there, wow. When you actually start drilling into it, use ZapMap or something like that, then what you actually find is that most of those charge points are 7 kilowatt chargers. There's a few rapid chargers. There's two or three rapid chargers on our route today, so we should be okay. But it only takes one of those to be down, and you know you're scuppered. There's still that fear. I think that's the fear for people getting into this. That they're just, you know, they can't do what they want to do with a petrol or diesel car. So you know, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm quietly confident that we're going to not get stranded. But we'll see. You know, we'll you know, anyway, if this is a complete disaster, then you know we're just not going to use it for this kind of thing. But you know, a lot of people talk about range anxiety with electric cars. I'm not really feeling anxious right now. But my Volvo, my other car, is a 2.5 litre diesel. If we were going to do a 160 mile round trip, you know, that's a fair amount of diesel. So I'd rather, you know, if this will work, then great, you know. Because the other anxiety I have is filling up my diesel car costs 100 quid, and that just feels like being punched in the nuts. So yeah, it doesn't do very good mileage, it really doesn't, but yeah, I guess it's safe. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll keep you updated, so we'll let you know how far we get, and we'll do some filming at the charge stops and everything to see what the experience is there. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're just checking in. We've done about 30 miles, maybe actually a bit more than that, 30-40 miles. The car is going really nicely. I must say, the cool thing about the Eco button is it limits the speed to 60 miles an hour, which actually, or just under 60 miles an hour in fact, but actually a lot of the roads that we're going on, a lot of the country roads and stuff, that's their maximum speed anyway, so you can just stick it on Eco, and then, you know, I guess you're saving a little bit of power at the same time. Plus there's some speed restrictions as well on the way. On some dual carriageway that we just went through, there was a 60 mile an hour average speed check. So again, we just stick the Eco button on and you can't get done for speeding. So that's quite cool. The guessometer battery meter seems to have done that mobile phone thing where the first 10% of charge just disappears in an instant. Now we are pretty much holding at around 90 miles of range, and we've done several miles now and it still hasn't really gone down. So you know, we're going to make it. Actually, one of the things we were just talking about, we thought we'd do a bit of a piece on it, is we actually think that what we were planning on doing. So we're on our way from Ipswich to Hoddesdon, and we're going via Stansted. So across the A120, we're just going across the A120 now, and we were going to stop at the services at Stansted to do a charge on the way. However, we're probably going to have too much charge, realistically, in order to get an effective charge. So one of the things about these cars is the more charge that they have in them, especially when you're getting into the, you know, the big charge. So when you're at sort of 80%, you know, you're really not going to charge very quickly. It's going to take a long time to charge. So this is why a lot of the figures on the websites quote charge times where they're saying it gets from 30 to 80%, because that happens relatively quickly. I did some calculations on Renault's own site the other day, and as soon as I added to 100%, the charge time almost doubled. So we really want to actually run as much down as possible before charging. So we think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 20 miles further to our destination, and then we are going to charge on the way back, all things being equal at the moment anyway. So that's just a quick check-in. Thought we'd let you know what's going on. So we're on our way to somewhere we knew that wasn't going to take, you know, it wasn't going to be possible on a single charge. And one of the things about that is this does require a little bit more planning than just hopping in and off you go. In fact, we've been thinking about this journey for well, ever since we knew we were going to go down there and how we might do it. And so, you know, there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of things that we, having just bought this EV, had to do. So there's not one network in the UK. There's many networks of charging stations, and they all need different apps to really, you know, to use them, which is a real pain, because I think people just, it's a barrier for people. So I've actually registered for Polar Instant and the Ecotricity Electric Highway. For the Polar Instant, I also had to put on a £20, you know, it's like a credit system, so I had to put some credit on there. So that was less than ideal. I think, you know, I'd much rather just, you know, pay as you go, because this isn't something that we're going to do very often. This is just a test, because we got the car and I thought people might find it useful. You know, this is a bit of a test case for us, but it does require a lot of planning, and one of the reasons it requires so much planning is that you need to kind of know what your charge level is going to be near your destination, and you also need to know where those chargers are. And as I said, or as I will say, you know, one of the problems with the charger network right now is that it does look like there are a lot of chargers out there, but there's only a few fast chargers. Now, this Zoe can charge up to 22 kilowatts, so it's not a particularly fast charge, but compared to 7 kilowatts, you know, it's still 3 times you know, the amount of charge. So we still need a fast charger to really spend a reasonable amount of time at a stopover to get us back there. Otherwise it's just not worth it. If we're charging this at 7 kilowatts, then it's going to take hours to charge this car. We've got a 7 kilowatt charger on our wall at home, and it's fine when you're asleep because you don't care. It'll charge overnight, and by the time you wake up in the morning it's got 100%, if that's what you want, and that's absolutely fine. But when you're out on the road, a cup of coffee and a break, yeah, great. Half an hour is pushing it, and I think that's probably what we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to work out exactly how much we need to take on, so we don't need 100% charge to get home, and we won't get that because that last little bit takes a lot longer to get in the battery. So we'll see. But the planning is, and if you need to plan your route, I use ZapMap, which is an app and a website. You can see all of the charging stations. I wish there was a way of filtering. I haven't found it yet. If there is, mention it in the comments below. But you know, there it really should be a way of kind of filtering out all the dross, because they fill the map up with all these charge points, and some of them are just not worth visiting, because some of them are like a 3-pin plug. You know, they're like 3 kilowatts, which is it's never going to happen. There's 16 hours of this, in this 40 kilowatt Zoe. So you know, if you've got a bigger electric car, a nightmare. I think this is where Tesla really, hands down, have recognised this fact. So hats off to Tesla. You know, just I couldn't afford a Tesla by some way. You could probably buy about 6 Zoes for a Tesla, or 4 Zoes for a Tesla. So it's one of these things that we've just got to live with for now, and hopefully it's just going to get better. As more people switch over to electric, more people demand them. We'll see better estimations and more infrastructure. Because really, if you want no hassle, and if you want to know there's infrastructure out there and you want fast charging, then Tesla's really the only way to go. And of course, you're going to pay a premium for that. For everyone else, including Jaguar I-Pace owners, then you've got to really work out where these fast charge points are, and also check in to see if they were working. Certainly, a number of the fast chargers, in fact, the fast charger that we're going to, isn't working for CHAdeMO and CCS. So according to the ZapMap, those 2 connectors are dead, but the Type 2 is okay, and the Zoe is a Type 2, so we should be alright. But again, if you're banking on just 1 or 2 charge points and they're both faulty for whatever reason, then that's bad news. It can really ruin your day. We will have a little bit of charge left to go and find another charge point if in the worst case scenario, but it's not ideal. If all of the petrol stations in the UK had a charge point, then I think we'd all be in a better position, and hopefully as the charge rates are coming down, we're already seeing 150 kilowatts, 300 kilowatts being talked about. So you'll be able to stop for 10-15 minutes rather than half an hour at the minute. So it's all getting there. We're not early adopters. These cars have been made since 2013, but we do still feel like we're in the first, or at least the kind of, we're not the front of the first wave. We're kind of at the back of the first wave, maybe. So we're just finding a little bit of this out for ourselves right now. But hopefully you'll find that useful. So we'll check in when we get to our first charge point. Right, okay, so we've just picked up what we come to collect. We come to collect a present. So we've we've done about 80 miles. We've got 52 left on the guessometer, which actually is a lot more than I thought we were going to have. I thought we might have 20 or so. So now we've got to go and get a charge. It's also getting dark. It's getting towards tea time, so we're going to probably have a bite to eat as well, which is going to work out perfectly. So hopefully then, by the time we've actually had something to eat, plug this thing in, as long as we can find a free charge point, then this journey isn't really going to have taken any longer in this car than it would have in the diesel car, but it's going to have saved us a ton of money. So touch wood. But that's what it's looking like so far. So we'll pick this up again when we get to the charge point. Alright, okay, so it's gotten on dark. It's still only the middle of the afternoon, but it is the middle of winter, so So we've got to the charge points. Unfortunately, they're both used. They are being both used by electric cars though, and they're both fully electric. They're not PHEVs, so I can't go on a rant about that. We'll just go and get something to eat, and hopefully these people will come back and go away soon, so that we can grab some power and then be on our way. We don't need actually that much. We've still got 30 miles of range left. So we don't need to put on a huge amount, but we do need a little bit. So I'm going to wait around here, so hopefully they won't be long. So I've just been having a look at the charge point whilst we're waiting for one to become free, and actually one of the guys who owns a car was actually there with the car. We had a bit of a chat. He's got the Kia Soul, and the charge point he's not going to be there much longer, and it's on free vend, so woo! We're going to get a free charge into the bargain. So we're going to grab something to eat, and then we're going to chuck it on the charger, and then we're going to continue on our way. Noodles. Car's charging now, trying to charge us up as well. It's just been on charge about 45 minutes, and it's now on 62% charge. So not too bad actually. It doesn't seem to be charging at the full 20 odd kilowatts that it's advertised, but it seems to be creeping up towards that, so I'm guessing there's some kind of regulation happening as it charges though, so no problems there. If I get a moment, I shall show you how it all works, but this one's on free vend, so that's also cool. So we get a free charge, and we'll be on our way shortly. Right, well, we made it back. We've got 18 miles left on the gasometer, which is great. Actually, it tracked pretty much 20 miles remaining. We left with 20 miles remaining, more than we needed in the battery when we set off from the charge point. So it's pretty consistent. I'm pretty happy with that. We really didn't hang around. So we basically kept to the speed limit on all the roads, main roads. So it was 60-70 mile an hour driving all the way. I don't really think this car cost us any more time other than the time that we waited for the charge point to become free. So basically, when we got to the charge point, because there was two cars already on charge, an i3 and a Kia Soul, we just had to wait for one of those to finish. But because they're rapid chargers, they charge pretty rapidly. So we were only waiting about 10-15 minutes for that to become free. So after that, just plugged it in and got something to eat. So driving this car is just so easy. It's a really relaxing place to be for a long journey. It's comfortable. It feels very capable on the road. I'm super impressed with it. I'd say it's less fatiguing to be in this car than it is to be in our estate Volvo, which is not an old car. It's a very comfortable car, but just the drone of the engine, I think, gets you down after a while. So unless we're doing anything that requires the estate car, which we do need to still use it for, I think this could very easily be our main car for a lot of the time. So I'm super impressed. So all we've got to do now is plug the old girl in and get her charging overnight, and she'll be full for another week, really, because we don't do that much mileage during the week. So one charge tonight should do us until next weekend. Cool.